So the Houston Texans have always been known as that franchise that's just been horrible and never really amounted to much. But honestly, you look at what they have right now. They have a nice supporting cast around a nice young quarterback, and I think a lot of people are overlooking this team just because of the Texans and they're in the AFC South. I think the Texans are a very talented football team, and I'm getting the gut feeling and looking at this roster, looking in and digging into them a little bit. Would not shock me if they win 8 to 10 games at all. Would not shock me at all. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome you to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoy Colts content, NFL content, content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. So, CJ Stroud. Let's start with CJ Stroud, the guy everyone's going to talk about. So, coming out of Ohio State, he seemed to be very good under structure. The offense wasn't very complicated, so how is he going to come to the NFL and work with a complicated offense, more complicated offense? It's not as watered down as Ryan Day made it in Ohio State, which made their offense very predictable and just not really quarterback friendly in terms of bringing quarterback to the NFL and having them succeed there. CJ Stroud showed that he could be extremely accurate, good pocket presence. He can move if he needed. He's not the fastest of guys, but he can get out of the pocket and make a little run if he needs to. He's got a good arm. There's a lot to like about CJ Stroud. He makes a lot of throws that a lot of quarterbacks really cannot make. So you go from the watered down system to a more complicated system that is very good for young men to getting to something stressful, to get into something that's going to be difficult, because that's when they're pushed to their limits. That stress is good because it's gonna it will ultimately help him in game situations stay calm, but also, it's not gonna be as easy, coming from a less complicated system and going to a very complex system. But Stroud has a really good supporting cast around him. He has D'Amico Ryans, a coach from defensive coordinator from the San Francisco 49ers. They have a winning culture over there. He knows what a winning culture looks like. Hopefully he knows how to build one. It's a whole different story being part of one and building one. Can D'Amico build that winning culture? Can he build that championship culture? He's put together a nice little roster here. Let's see if they could make it look good on paper and have it translate to the field. So you got Dameon Pierce. So the running backs are good. You got some nice running backs. Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary, Mike Boone, Dare Agunbowale, I don't know how to say his name, but the first two running backs are pretty good. I like Mike Boone. I like him. I like this running back room. Devin Singletary is okay. I think he's all right as a running back too. I was never a big fan of him. Dameon Pierce showed to be really good last year. Suffered the big injury, and hopefully he come back to what he was, because running backs, one big injury and that could do it. We've seen with Zeke. As you get older, he did have an injury, but as you get older, sometimes you just lose it. Now, I'm not saying Pierce is anything of Zeke's caliber. I'm not saying that of when Zeke was very good. I'm just saying that running backs, especially when you suffer a big-time injury, it could really speed up the aging process, I guess you could say. And then the wide receivers, there's not any wide receivers here that jump out to you and you're like, wow, that's an impressive wide receiver. No. But all these receivers can hold their own, and every one of them can have themselves a game every single week. You will never know which one. You don't know who to cover. You got Nico Collins going in. He's been in the NFL for a couple years now. I think, was last year's rookie year? I'm confused, but I know he's got some nice potential. He could be a good receiver. Robert Woods, not a great number one, but he could be a good number two as long as he's healthy. John Mechie the third, he's fast. There's a lot to like about his game. Tank Dell out of Houston, love that receiver. I think he could be very good. Noah Brown, like him. And you look at the tight end options, really one or two guys that I know. Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys, nice big target, reliable target for CJ Stroud. Even if none of these receivers get open, can't trust on them. This guy, Dalton Schultz, he will be able to trust. Very, very consistent hands, very strong hands, very reliable. Does everything well, can block well, can catch well, can run routes well. Very good tight end. Then you got Brevin Jordan, who was as a third. He was a tight end out of Miami. I like Brevin Jordan. Then you look at the offensive line, and it's not bad. You have Laramie Tunsil, who's one of the best tackles in the league, and he's a left tackle on top of that. Is he the one that just got paid? No, I think it was Titus Howard that got paid a big contract, but Lamar Thompson getting paid quite a bit anyways. He's a very good left tackle. Kenyon Green, a year or two before he was drafted, he was very high on people's lists. Fell down. We'll see how he can play with the Texans right now. Juice Scruggs, I think he's an underrated center. I think he could be all right. Shaq Mason, decent guard. Titus Howard, who is a good tackle. Is he worth the amount of money they paid him? Maybe not. But this is a nice supporting cast for CJ Stroud, and he's got a head coach that is coming from a franchise with the winning culture. So if the Texans turn it around, this is a great opportunity to do so, to turn the franchise around and be like, even Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver here, Steve Sims. I like a lot of these guys that they have, whether, if none of them are really that flashy, they can get the job done. They can provide a little something and really help CJ Stroud become into that quarterback that you want him to. And he's battling with Davis Mills. It's very good to have that competition. I believe he will win it. You have Case Keenum at 3. They're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. Don't forget about that new rule. And then you look at the defense, man. There's quite a bit of talent on the defense, honestly. You look at the defensive line. It's a good defensive line. You got Will Anderson Jr., who you traded up to get. Very good edge rusher. Jonathan Greenard, I think he's a nice rotational piece. Malik Collins and Sheldon Rankins will provide a nice presence on the interior of the defensive line. Jerry Hughes is an incredible pass rusher. Was very good last year. I think he had like 10 sacks last year at least, right? I think Jerry Hughes had a pretty good year last year. Yeah, Chase Winovich, who came out of Michigan a couple years ago, he has the potential to be solid. Byron Cowart, I remember he used to be in the Colts and he was having a good camp and he was all right. So I think and Hassan Ridgeway as well. He's got some pretty good depth in there. I really like what the Texans have built on the defensive line. Then you look at the linebackers. Christian Harris is all right. Corey Littleton, Christian Kirksey, Blake Crashman, Henry Toto. I don't even want to say his name, and then you have Denzel Perryman, Neville Hewitt, Jacob Martin. You have some talent in this linebacker room, and then it doesn't stop when you go to the secondary. Actually, no. Did I say? Okay. I thought I said Denzel Perryman as a corner. That's my fault. I thought he was a corner for a second. No. Shaquille Griffin, nice little second corner. Steven Nelson, not a bad corner either. Derek Stingley Jr., Desmond King. We know Derek Stingley Jr. has the talent. Could he put it together? Struggles with injuries. Let's see if he could do it. Didn't look great last year. Sauce proved to be the best corner from that draft class last year. But we'll see. Derek Stingley has all the tools in the world to be an incredible corner. You look at the safeties. You have Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie. This team is not that bad. And I feel like everyone's just looking over the Texans just because of the Texans. Just because, they're in the AFC South and they're the Texans, so they're going to be horrible. It's obviously Jaguars, and I think the Jaguars are going to win the division. But do not be surprised. I am telling you now that the Houston Texans can be a very good football team this year. Very good. Now, am I a huge CJ Stroud guy? Yes, but no. His tape is confusing, especially when you go to the Georgia game and everything previously he really struggled with in that Georgia game, in the biggest game of his life. All those weaknesses went away. So is that positive foreshadowing, saying, man, it's the best when he's under pressure in tough situations, which you're under those all the time in the NFL. So I mean, bring it on. I guess we'll see. I think CJ Stroud can be an all right quarterback. We will see, of course. DeMeco Ryans hopefully can bring that championship culture from San Fran. There's a lot to like. And then the place kicker, you have Cam Fairbairn. He's not a bad kicker. Though I don't know who Cameron Johnston is. I don't know their punter. But watch out, man. You heard it here first. The Houston Texans are going to be in the running for a wild card spot. I know the AFC is packed with talent. That's why I said in the running. Didn't say they're going to make it. They're going to be in the running. You come back to this video when they are. And come back to this video if they're not and they have 3 wins at the end of the year. But I fully believe that this Texans team is capable of 8 to 10 wins this season, honestly. Now, I think the Jaguars are going to win the division. I could see the Jaguars winning 12, 13 games, that Trevor Lawrence can be somewhat consistent. If he could be consistent and play like the way he did in that second half of that Chargers game, oh my gosh, the Jaguars can be one of the best teams in the NFL next year, honestly. But it's a matter of fact of him finding ways to stay consistent. That's my biggest issue with him. If he can stay consistent, he's going to be very impressive, and that team is going to be very impressive. They have a lot of talent on that team as well. But I can absolutely see the division going as such: Jaguars, Texans, Titans, Colts. That's my prediction. That's how I think the division is going to go out. So I want you guys to let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning into the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on. Don't miss any future videos. And let me know what you think about the Texans. Do you think I'm right? Do you think, no, JDW, you are absolutely crazy? They are not. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So thank you for tuning into the JDW Sports Talk Show. No. How should we end these videos? I'm still trying to find a way. Should I just say JDW Sports Talk Show signing off? JDW Sports Talk Show's out. I don't know. If you guys come up with anything, let me know.